Hey guys!
Welcome back to Latte Foam. We're finally back, guys!
I hope you guys had a good holiday season, a good start to your January, because we've been gone a while.
Yeah, ours has been super busy. All through the holidays, we've been working on Evermore, which is finally out now.
Welcome to Evermore. Did you miss me?
I can't believe you're so suspicious of me.
Hurry up. This stick in the mud isn't going to wait forever.
If I can be perfect for you, that's all that matters to me.
You made all this happen for me.
Hey, sorry to call you right before you head in, but I wanted to see if you printed out the documents for the presentation.
Evermore is out now on both platforms. The links are below for Android and Apple.
Before we get started, we did want to address a few little issues. We did the soft launch last weekend just to see if there were any errors that popped up before we do a full press rollout and everything this week. And iPad users and Android users were affected in that. So for Android, it wasn't starting up, and then iPad, it was sized wrong. Both of those have now been fixed, so you can go ahead and download on your Android and iPad devices in the links below.
Now with that out of the way, we want to talk about our journey with Evermore and how it was built, how it came to be with Evermore that you guys see today. Talk about some good stories, some bad stories, and just all that. We wanted to film all of that process, but it is a very hard process to go through. So this time we didn't, but we do have a lot of stories we want to tell you. So
yeah, our next game that we do, we're definitely going to cam and mic our house so that we can just get everything from start to finish when we start working on it.
Yeah, which will be later this year actually.
Yeah, so we're just going to do this video kind of to address the making of Evermore and all of that, because I know you guys had a lot of questions. Sorry about the rain, by the way. It literally never rains in the desert where we live, but
and then today
it decided to rain.
So I guess let's get started.
Yeah. My love for you as Evermore begins with you, the main character, early into your career as a publicist in Tokyo. You graduated college with your master in public relations just a couple of years ago and landed a job at Evermore Consulting shortly thereafter. Now, at 25, you're feeling a bit stagnant in your position as you've yet to land a groundbreaking account. However, today, everything changes when a few opportunities present themselves to you that could change your career and life forever.
The first of these is the opportunity to turn around the image of Hiro Tachi, #1 pop idol in Japan. Hiro is not only your childhood best friend, but your ex too. When you find out he's been causing trouble, you find a chance to reunite and save Hiro's image.
The only problem is your work rival and the resident office playboy Minoru Akimura is gunning for the Hiro project too. Considering your lack of experience, it might be helpful to work alongside Minoru on the project. Forming a better work relationship with Minoru might be beneficial, but there may be a lot of hurdles to jump along the way.
While you're the one who brought Hiro to the table, you don't want to have your history cause any more of a scandal. You hand over the reins to Minoru and take on the Hotel Sunset as your first major project. The hotel has a lot of history, and you get to work with the head of accounting, Daichi Ishioka. Though cold and distant on the outside, you quickly find out after one night of drinking that there is more than meets the eye.
However, at the same time, your beloved team leader, Kyosuke Aizawa, mentions he is looking for an executive assistant. He extends the offer to his team because the opportunity will come with perks like shadowing Kyosuke as he works on major event clients. This is a golden opportunity for you to make larger connections and work side by side with the handsome and caring Mr. Aizawa. So what will you choose?
Whoever you choose, you get the chance to make choices as you fall in love over the course of 12 chapters in 3 possible endings: dramatic, serene, and bad.
You'll also be able to hear his voice along the way with the 3 to 5 possible calls per route. With our amazing voice talents, Damien Gutcher, Zachary Law, Talon Winchester, and David Matranga. So that pretty much sums up the premise of the game, and now we just kind of wanted to go over the journey of the game, how it came to be, and some highs and lows throughout the process.
Let's go back to the beginning.
I originally hand wrote out years ago an idea for some other platform. I was going to write this, and so I developed the character and the game actually around Hiro. I was like, I want to do a famous story, I want to do this, and I can develop other characters possibly as love options, maybe a harem, but Hiro was the main guy, so I developed.
And this was before we were even a company.
Yeah, this was well before we were a company, and I held it in this notebook, and I'm like, one day this is gonna come to fruition. I'll write a chapter for each guy, and we'll see. So when we decided to revamp Snowkissed and go as to become a company, we were in the library working really hard. And
towards the end of our development with Snowkissed.
Yeah, and I randomly was like, okay, this might be the chance. So I told Kayla, I was like, I actually even wrote another story, maybe for down the line. I don't know when we're gonna come up with this app, but let's do it, because we were spitballing ideas. And I handed her the notebook, and her eyes were probably like, what is this? Why do you have this all written down?
I was like, an email could suffice.
Yeah, an email would suffice, but that's how I am. That's how I get ideas flowing, is I have to write it down. And I had her read the prologue.
Yeah, there was like pages
of what the prologue would be, kind of, and Hiro's character, and she liked it.
Yeah, I loved it. I knew that an idol character would do really well, because that's one of our favorite games from Voltage, is actually Scandal in the Spotlight. So I thought that was a cool addition, but it's kind of a lot to have it just all idols, so I liked the aspect of having people from the office.
Yeah.
I knew we could write it really well, because we both work in an office setting, so we know about those kinds of things.
Yeah, so I wanted to write Hiro, and Daichi as well, the character Daichi. We actually even changed his name. We had to go through that.
Wasn't it Daisuke before?
Yeah, it was Daisuke before. And then,
what was Minoru's name?
We didn't come up with Minoru or Kyosuke. Yeah, I just had
just
the
like
office
a friend
coworker.
character.
Yeah, he was the coworker who got along with your friend Amane in the office.
And we knew we wanted a boss route, which I was all over, because I love boss routes.
She wanted to take on those two. She was like, I can do those ones. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna write Daichi, who's a Virgo, and that was it. And so we started that from there, finished Snowkissed, and went straight into Evermore.
And I felt like it was the perfect time in our lives to write it too, because the MC is 25, and that's pretty much around our age, mid-20s. And the characters were just a lot deeper this time, and I felt like we could flesh them out. So we started off by going basically fully in on every single character, who their parents were, where they were born, what day they were born, their blood type, everything that they went through in their life up to this current age that they are now.
Yeah, so we considered everything, things that you don't even get to see in the main story at first, but every single detail. We're sending each other, hey, this is what he does, and this even plays into other routes. So this is how this person would talk. In Daichi would only talk this way in Minoru's route because he's not comfortable with her yet, and things like that.
Because we were trying to take pieces of everything and like their color palettes and the reason why we chose that color palette for that character. Like, there's just so much. And then when we do mock exercises, like if in this situation, what would each of these characters, how would they react? We did a lot of that. And we also did that with MC.
Yeah, and the side character, any side characters you see in the game.
Yeah, like what's their relationship with the MC? How long have they known her? We just really went a lot more in detail in this game than we did in our first title. And we're going to continue to do that and only do more, I think, in the future.
Yeah, as we go forward. Because for this one, we were editing and adding and going into detail up until the very end, where we would read each other's things and say, well, no, he doesn't talk like that, so that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that even after reading it 8 times, we would find little things that were like, no, that doesn't fit. We have to fix everything. So
it's a lot, but that's what makes it so much fun, because we're so attached to the characters that we bring them to life.
Yeah.
And when we tell our artist who drew the characters, this is what they would look like, this is how they would stand, this is their outfit, it feels that you can feel their personality once you read them. Like, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I really think we cast the perfect voice actors for each one. Mm-hmm. Each of their voices is exactly how I imagined it to be. And so that was a really fun process too. Like, I think Talon's perfect for Boss. Damien nailed Hiro. Obviously, Zach did amazing for Daichi. Like, perfect.
I'm a perv.
And David
Matrenga
was
the perfect Minoru.
I think that's the first time we actually want to tell you how that came to be.
Yeah, that was a major story for us.
Career move for us as two girls doing this, and that's like super. So you can tell the story because you're like the best one to tell it.
Okay, I mean, it was really both of us, but we were in this office just sitting, and actually initially we had cast Damien to play Minoru, and we had somebody else for Hiro, and we had picked him based off of a voice sample for Tsubaki from Brothers Conflict, because we thought that was the perfect voice for Hiro at the time. Mm-hmm. And this guy read it just like Tsubaki, so we hired him.
Yeah.
And then when he turned all of his files in, we started playing them, and we realized that he sounded exactly like Hiro from Mr. Love.
Yeah, so we go into panic because
we were like freaking out.
He sounds like that. Kiro's an idol. He had, we're approaching into, we just copied another character, the sound, the looks, like, and it's
like
they're
their
nothing
characters
alike.
are not alike, but based on the type of character he is and then the voice actor, we're like, I don't know. We contacted a lawyer about it, and they suggested that we recast the part, and we were kind of depressed at that point because we were running low on money because we've just spent so much money on this game. We went like fully in. We have 8 songs. Last time we had 4, and we just did a lot more for this
no
game.
detail was missed on this game, I feel like.
No, and so we were kind of upset to lose all the money that we spent on a voice actor, but we were like, we just have to recast it. And then as we were sitting there, I was like, you know, I honestly feel like Damien's a more natural fit for Hiro. And she's like, yeah, I think you're right, but who are we going to cast for Minoru? Like, that's such a tough one to nail. Mm-hmm. And we thought, the reason why we wanted it to be Damien is because we could really coach him right there, because he lives in town. So I was like, what if we just got David Matranga? Like, what if we got the guy who plays Usui Takumi?
And it's for laughing.
I'm a huge freak who likes maids more than anything else in the world. All my favorite books are about maids. I visit maid cafes every single day, and I collect maid figurines too. My heart races every time I play maid dating games, and in my spare time I dress in maid costumes and breathe heavily while I stare at myself in the mirror. See ya. President, did you happen to drink something strange?
You friggin' sexually harassed.
No use talking to her, huh? It doesn't seem like you've had any alcohol, Misa. Okay, stop.
And you were like, we can't do that. Like, we can't afford that. Like, what do you mean? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I just think it could generate a lot of buzz for the game. He's such a well-loved character in a lot of shoujo roles. Mm-hmm. And we were like, just looking into it. And you were like, I don't know, maybe just see if you can find his contact.
Yeah, I think I was like, you know what? Let's take this leap. Let's see if we can find it. And you did, like that. It was like 2 seconds
Literally,
later.
next thing I know, I'm on his talent agency, and we're literally on the phone with Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, let me just talk to him, just send us info on the game. And that was probably the scariest part for us because we were worried that we weren't legitimate enough of a company. I mean, we are a legitimate company, but
yeah,
it's really easy to have that imposter syndrome when you're first starting out and you don't have enough under your belt yet to show. We just sent her all the info. The game was rated 12+, like a little synopsis, pictures of Minoru, and how we wanted to sound like Usui, that kind of vibe. And then basically he had a few questions, and he decided to do the project, and it worked out for us.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
We called each other, it was like on a Tuesday, we called each other screaming, David Matranga's in our... It's the most wildest thing to feel that somebody who plays in one of the #1 animes in the world right now, it was it for us, and he was super cool to meet. We talked to him, so it was a Skype thing.
Actually, a funny story. We had to meet him on Google Hangouts, and it was our first time doing it, and our mic, we had detached it. We were just going to use the computer audio, but it was still trying to pick that up, so he couldn't hear us at all. And it was just...
We just kept talking, and he's like, okay, I'll just try to read your lips. It was...
And we're like, stop, no.
And then we were going through, and the other funny part was, he had downloaded Snowkissed.
We were like,
oh, did you? It was embarrassing for us, really, because one of the characters' name is Usui, right? So now we just look like fangirls.
Yeah, so okay, I wrote this when I was like early in college, and I was just getting into anime, and like I said, that was one of the first main anime that I loved. Like, I absolutely loved Maid-sama, and I was like, Usui is my main man, he's my favorite, he's a Taurus like me, and I just loved him. So I was like, I really want to base the main character off of him, like, loosely. And so his name's Usui, and he kind of looks like Usui. And so now it looks like we're major fangirls, which, like, we kind of are, but, like, also...
Oh, it was worse, too.
Off like that.
Yeah, and then not to mention, there's another character in that's the other rival of Usui, the main rival of Usui, which is Yo.
That was not on purpose. Like, we just have a character named Yo who also has brown hair, and it wasn't based on Maid-sama that.
And it's just... It was so... Because he was like, yeah, I played your sample. I was like... As soon as we
did like, died. He was like, what?
What? Like, no, it's fine. Like,
it's crazy.
And it makes it... He was so nice, though. He was so casual.
So nice.
He gave...
I'm sure he's nice to everyone.
But it was super cool to have somebody who you're hiring to do work that's like, that's so cool that you guys are two game people. He said he knew right off the bat that we were best friends, the way that we were talking. Like, when the mic wasn't on, we're like, what are you saying?
I kind of like blacked out. I forgot some of the stuff he said because I was so nervous.
It was insane. But it was such an experience, too, for us because we're so brand new to this industry still.
Yeah.
We're a year in. A lot of things are taking a leap where, okay, we have to do this and everything. So this was one of those things that we thought it was cost. We were going to take the L on the cost, but that doesn't matter. This is David Matranga in a game for us.
Yeah, we just decided that it was worth it.
And it was, he nailed everything like we knew he would. He brought Minoru seriously to life.
You'd have to pay me to see you naked.
I could listen to those calls
all day.
Even though we wrote them, like, I just love it.
We just play every time we're running through the game to get to one spot. We're like, wait, Minoru's on the phone. And so that was such a cool experience for us.
Yeah, and I can't wait to continue to hire, like, talent that's been in the game for a long time, because it's really cool experience to meet somebody that you've heard in anime for so long or in other things. So.
Yeah, and our other voice actors are so amazing too. They were so wonderful to work with.
They've done mostly commercial work in the past, like commercials and voiceovers for that, but they haven't really done anime yet. But they were all super excited to be a part of a video game for the first time.
Talent too, like, blew me away. Everything
he is
was
honestly one of my favorites.
If I can be perfect for you, that's all that matters to me.
I just think he nails Boss.
He really
well.
did.
Like, that's exactly how I wanted Kyosuke to sound.
And he didn't have to redo anything. I think my favorite part though was that he did Hiro's take twice, where he was like Hiro and then Hiro.
Yeah. We played the track and I forget what the line was. He was like, "Oh, you mean with Hiro?" And I was like, "Oh no, we didn't tell him how to say it."
And then the next one he was like, and then he did it again just to like give a variation,
yeah.
and we're like, that was on us. But
so sorry. Yeah, we learned a lot about things we need to include in scripts for voice actors. Luckily, everybody helped us along the way. But.
Yeah, and you can check out the bloopers with Damien.
Now I know you're hearing me.
And then press enter. And then there's a T in front of the Y.
Oh. Tior.
Well, you know what it says.
How do I?
Have you ever typed before?
Sorry.
Tior.
That was so. We need to get some food in this one.
Yeah, go eat or something.
That was awful. I'm so sorry.
Yes, that was probably my favorite day of us hanging out, is us just berating him.
That's how we are. That's who we are all the time. He's been my best friend for like 2 years now, 3 years.
And I used to be best friends with him when we were little. Like, he was a neighbor of mine, and it was like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, kind of. We would all hang out. We'd go to my birthday parties.
And then that's just how it is. Now we watch anime all the time. He's here all the time. But yeah, we're so thankful to him. But yeah, if you watch that video, that's how Kayla and I were the whole time. We're like, you ever typed before? And it's
was just...
But yeah, so that was super cool experience for us. And then going into building other elements of the game. So with the sprites, our sprites artist knocked it out of the park. That was an experience. We adding all these characters, adding new characters. That's what we wanted. We wanted something that we felt like fit the backgrounds.
Yeah, we got a brand new sprite artist from Snowkissed, and I just think that was a really good decision for us for where we wanted to go with this.
He really brought everything to life for all of us. I think Daichi was obviously my favorite, but when we first got him, he had curly hair, and I was like,
oh my gosh, it was so funny because he fixes things so fast, but we didn't know it at the time. So he sent us his hair is normally up, and then he set it down, and it was like curly. And she's like, "Oh no, he looks like John Smith. I don't know what to do. I don't want to have him change it." And then we were just like, "We have to tell him to change it."
Yeah.
And then he changed it in 1 second.
And that's
like,
how Daichi is.
I really wish like we could have had everything filmed properly, because there's so many cool aspects to building a game. A lot of breakdown moments.
So it's a lot of building, where even this time we made not mistakes. I don't want to call them mistakes. I think it's just learning. Like, hey, don't do that twice.
Well, first of all, she literally had to build the game in a new system from what she had originally been working on for months in like 3 weeks. We decided to go with Unity, which is a really big. I'm sure you guys have heard of it.
Unity and Nintendo partner and put a lot of games on there as well, and that was
actually the problem, is because we were looking at getting this on the Switch, and we had been thinking about Unity, and we saw on Nintendo that you can use Nintendo Switch if you have Unity with $100,000 licensing fee. So we were like, $100,000? We can't. We were like, nope, we're not going to use Unity. So she was trying to do something else on her own.
How about I just build it directly from Xcode and Swift? And so I didn't know anything enough about it. So I was like, maybe I look into something else. Unity kept popping up. We were running, I felt on a time crunch, and I had to learn C# coding in 3 weeks. I never used it really before. I heard about it, and I watched a couple YouTube tutorials, and I was like, okay, I built the game. I remember turning around, I was like, okay, I built this and this and this, so we can test out of here, and then we'll edit it from there. And you looked at me, you were like, what do you mean it's built? And I was like, it's built. That's how it has to go.
But we did run into some bumps along the way. She got it built, and then Unity would update and it would break. And so she had to rebuild it again, and like 6 times, maybe 10 times. Even. It was a lot of times she had to rebuild this game.
Yeah, I would build it a lot, and it was starting to take a toll on me mentally, because she you would want to help me, and I'm like, no, I have to do this. She does all the graphics inside the game. So every button that you see, she does it. I just code behind it. Does it work? Does it do this? The color schemes, all of that is Kayla. And we have input on each other on how things will work, but she builds all that. I felt I had to do this. And if it would break and it was where I couldn't build out of this again or it wasn't letting me, I would just rebuild the entire engine. I wouldn't even care.
Like, it would just be like, she would stay up all night. She's like, yeah, well, I rebuilt the game, so we're fine to start running code this morning. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like, wanted her to just have someone to help her so bad, because me creating graphic assets does not take as long as somebody coding. Like, that's a whole different realm. It's just good to have somebody to assist you. And that's what we ended up having to do for just one or two components in the end. And that's what led to us having to delay the game by 2 months. But the person that we found was so awesome. His name's Alexis. Shout out.
Amazing. Wonderful.
Love him so much. And he just helped with those components because he's been doing Unity for years. So that was definitely the way to go for us.
And he taught us enough too that where we can do some of this stuff on our own going forward. But yeah, I think that's our biggest probably blocker, is that we don't want to admit that we need help.
Yeah.
Because it would get to the point, I think on both ends, when things were not working, is I wouldn't go to sleep. I just wouldn't. I would stay
And that
up.
doesn't help anything, like you need to get rest, and instead of just making yourself crazy.
We would get so stressed.
We were like in tears at a point.
I think, and this was one of the lows, is that when I couldn't figure out one element, I walked upstairs, because I'm on the first floor, she's on the third floor, and I just busted into tears. I'm like, I feel useless. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Not in the sense of like the game, but it gets to, you're so upset with yourself that you just feel like you're going to fail. And I felt like I was failing our business and I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
and so
no, that was not the case though. It was just like one component that she couldn't figure out. She pretty much built the whole game, and we just needed one person to come in and help with that. It was literally, it was minor for sure. But that is definitely something we've learned throughout this process, is that asking for help early on is the smartest thing to do. And we've learned that we really actually like writing together, because we started outlining Manager, who's a character coming soon. I know you guys super have your eyes on him. But yeah, we just realized writing together is a really good process for us, and we think with our next game we might co-write every single route.
We've grown as partners even together. So Kayla and I have been best friends for 20 years. We almost have a telepathy where we've morphed into like one person. I can tell what she's about to say before she says it. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
And sometimes when you're delirious on no sleep, that doesn't really work out, because we'll try and like she'll be saying something, I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about already, and she's like, no, you don't. Like, let me finish what I'm saying.
And it has gone to where we've been at our stress points, and so we don't argue. That's the thing. That's a good thing about us, is we don't argue and we don't fight.
I feel like people might think we are from an outside perspective, but really we're just talking.
We're just talking. We just like have to get a whole thing out, but we usually we're saying the same thing. That's the worst part.
In the end, we'll talk and debate for like 5 minutes, and then we're like, okay, so we're both on the same page.
Cool.
Anyways.
But that's another thing too, that we need to know to take breaks. We have been working nonstop till 3 o'clock in the morning for the last like 8 months without a break.
We literally get up and go to work, usually late. I feel like I'm late to work every single day. Get off work, shove food in our faces, work on our game, all the way to like midnight, 1 a.m. Us delirious, goes to sleep, goes to work over and over on the weekends. The entire weekend, we just work on our game. And
it gets where we're not having social life. Then the pandemic's happening. So many things are going on that we didn't take a break for ourselves. Yeah. And it gets to a point. The thing is though, I have fun writing. We love doing it.
We love doing it, but I don't ever want to not love doing it. So we probably do need to pace ourselves in the future.
That's what we've dedicated, is we'll take a day off, and now we're going to start hopefully being able to
We're starting to take Friday nights off and Sunday nights off.
Sunday nights off. But the other thing is, I wish we could have filmed all of our editing process. That is actually the funnest story that I can tell.
Well, oh my gosh, we just have to tell you a story about the word whoa. I thought it was spelled like this, W-O-A-H. I'm tapping the screen. But it's actually W-H-O-A. But my Mac told me that it was W-H-O-A-H. And so we spelled it like that for the longest. And literally, not even kidding you guys, like maybe 2 to 3 weeks before release, we were reading it one more time. And I was like, you know what? Woe being spelled like that just doesn't look right.
And I was like, yeah, let me find it somewhere else. And we found it. And
it's W-H-O-A.
We also can't spell. So
anything.
I'll ask you to spell something, and you're like, it might be this, but I'm telling you right now, it's wrong.
We ask each other like we're the authority. Like neither of us can spell. So I don't know.
We're just going to need an editor the next time. So when we, this is, I think it's the earth signs in us, is that when we focus on something, we're like, that's law. That's it.
Once we figure out one thing, we're like, that's what it is. It's like, but did you consider the source? Did you multiple check? Like,
And we always support each other. So Kayla could go in and say it could be completely wrong. And I'm like, you're right. I believe you and nothing you say is wrong. But we also question each other all the time.
Yeah,
Like another mistake popped up. Hey, this didn't work. Or we're running scripts and the Sprite is missing.
Yeah, that has to be my favorite. Like, oh, great. Because that's not something that's easily fixed. You have to go add it and like boot it up and all this stuff.
Go through the whole thing.
We were just sitting there at one point at the end of the night and we're like, dang, maybe we should start reading books. It was so bad.
Maybe we should go back in education. I think it too, like, a grammar class seems right. I think that's what we're going to sign up for, is a grammar class.
Yeah, we need to take English classes.
It's
sad
so
because we go up and down. Like, we're like, oh, we're just basically illiterate. And then the next day, we're like, we're the best thing since sliced bread.
I think that's how we say balance, because we're like, I'm perfect and I'm amazing. One thing breaks. And it's like, I can't do this anymore.
We just collapse to the floor like Daisy on tennis.
I think we're so hard on ourselves. We're the hardest on ourselves than anything. Yeah. I think it works for us balancing is because when one of us is having a breakdown, the other is like, all right.
And someone says one negative thing though about our game, we're like, I literally got that.
I don't know where that came from.
No, we're seriously trying to take criticism better. But we've always listened to you guys. Like, in Snowkiss, that was a great trial for us, especially for game mechanics. Some of the things that we implemented would be like the sound. We were like, well, why would you ever need to lower the sound? Like, you can just turn off your sound. But then people were saying, well, sometimes I like to listen to my own music while I play. Like, didn't even consider that. So you can't just turn off the sound. So now we have that as a slider, so you can turn down the BGM or the total game sound. Like, you probably still want to hear their voices. So,
but you can always turn it back up when their voices come. Now this time we have a log. That was something that we wanted ourselves.
We always wanted that, but we couldn't figure it out with the other program that we used.
Because we used an older version, kind of, to get everything else to work. So this time it has a log, and one of the cool features of the log is you can actually, rather than having a reverse, like we did in Snowkiss where you have to keep hitting it, you can hit the clock and it goes back to that line of dialogue as long as it's not a choice. So the choice
so a choice you can't go back because then it would mess up your points on which ending you get. Spoiler, you should try and get all three because you'll learn a lot about the characters if you do that.
That's a cool story too, because Kayla and I actually sat for about 2 days figuring out the math behind the points. Just so everybody knows.
It was literally like...
We went back to school, we're like, so 2 plus 2 does equal 4.
What about the case in which, like, they could all tie? Like, way to think of everything. So we have this huge, long formula at the end, so you'll make sure you get the right ending based on your choices.
It's out and less stressful. Now we can feel comfortable taking a day off.
So we definitely have that mentality, like, oh, we can sleep when we're dead. Like, that's literally,
that's how
we can sleep when we're successful.
And
that can be toxic.
It can be toxic together. And it makes it hard because we're both workaholics. So she's working.
There's nobody that's telling us to stop. We'll just keep going.
And when people do tell us to stop, I think we get, like, angry. Like, you don't know.
You don't understand. People have been waiting for this since November.
And I think that's the biggest thing. And I want to say, too, to everybody who's been following us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, thank you so much. Those comments, I don't think you guys actually understand. All of the little comments you guys make and the patience you guys have had with us as people.
You're the ones who actually got us to take a break because we weren't taking one and you guys are like, please make sure you get your rest. Like, we can wait for the game. And that was like, made such an impact.
Because anytime we had to delay, Kayla and I, like, bust into tears.
Because we made that video. Like, I know it's not comparable, but we made the video Tokyo to Bunkers not that long ago before we went on our hiatus. And we were basically saying that we didn't like that they had to push it back by 2 to almost 3 years now from their original date. And so we felt hypocritical, even though it's 2 months and it's all the same. We were just like, oh my gosh, we're Tokyo Bunkers. Like,
and everyone's gonna hate us, everyone's gonna unfollow, and we were so afraid of that. We miss you guys. You know, you guys are doing so great. These graphics are beautiful. Like, every nice comment that you guys have left us really is what keeps us going. We were like,
and the people we work with going too. Like, we definitely sent the comments that you guys get to our artists because you guys are like, the backgrounds are beautiful, the sprites are beautiful, and like, they're on timelines too. They're working really hard too. So
it is so cool. It's not even just cool. It's humbling to see, like, okay, we're not failures. People really do like what we're gonna produce. And since the launch, seeing you guys' screenshots, me and Kayla talk about it for hours. We're like, oh my god, did you see what they said? We read every comment. Review?
Should we talk about the fact that we're gonna be BL special?
Oh shit, yeah.
Okay, one other piece of news that we wanted to talk about is specials for Evermore. So obviously we have Company Retreat coming out in just a couple of weeks. That one's going to be super exciting. It's going to be a harem special, so you can basically have all the guys romancing you at once. And a lot of choices in that one, so that one's going to be really fun. But one that we're even more excited for
is the BL special.
Boys Love Yaoi special that we're going to be doing. with, you guessed it, Daichi and Kyosuke.
Yes.
That's right, they are canon.
They are canon.
They're canon.
If you didn't feel that they were canon, go play the rest again, and honestly, you'll understand.
Honestly, think about it.
Think about why
Think about the
they're
plane scene when they run into them on the plane and Minoru's route. Think about that.
they're definitely boyfriends,
Lovers.
married, and we are so excited. It's going to be 12 chapters.
It's going to be them in college when they were on the soccer team together.
Yeah, so it's going to be them in college and how they got to be husbandos.
There's going to be spicy CGs, spicy phone calls, and you're going to get to play as either Daichi or Kyosuke. So you'll get two basically stories for the price of one. And with his titas out.
Oh, that's a joke. That's a running joke. Okay, so if you look at Kyosuke's character, he has the white button up, but it's always like unbuttoned.
Full titas are out.
And he's works in PR!
It's just so funny.
But he's like the best. I love Kyosuke. I love all the characters, so yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a fun time. Super fun.
But yeah, we hope you guys can check it out and let us know what you think of the game for sure.
Well, I think that's it. So we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Back to the
All right. So we go. Gross. All right. Well, we hope you guys had. Kayla's not looking at the camera. So it's like,
On Evermore, that's what this video is about. Just about Evermore, and I don't think that's what I'm supposed to say.
really went in from not the plane.
Not the play game.
The plane is passing by. That's like all I can think of. But yeah, we two everyday thongs. Everyday songs.
Posh laughs. Posh. I'm so hungry.
He gave cool dad energy.
Cool dad.
I hope he doesn't watch this. Sorry. I mean, it is what it is. Like, sometimes people give off cool... Kyosuke gives off dad energy.
Oh my god, yeah.
Daddy!
He's so daddy.
Welcome to Evermore. Did you miss me?
I can't believe you're so suspicious of me.
Hurry up. This stick in the mud isn't going to wait forever.
If I can be perfect for you, that's all that matters to me.
You made all this happen for me.
Hey, sorry to call you right before you head in, but I wanted to see if you printed out the documents for the presentation.